April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, and on Tuesday, April 23rd, from 6 to 8 o'clock, we have a special program on the theme, I Ask for Consent. I'm joined today by Katie Tyler from Health Imperatives to talk about this really important program we're having. Katie, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Clayton. I'm really excited to be here and talk about this event. I think it's really important that people come out and show up. It's open to the public, and we're trying to raise awareness regarding Sexual Assault Awareness Month and really draw attention to the issue. And even though sexual assault is really happening at epidemic proportions in our society, we just continue to have to really remind people that it's an issue, and that's why events like this are so important.
Well, we're really glad to have you coming to the library and raise awareness about it because, as we were talking about just before we started here on camera, it's really impressive the work that's being done and that there's a lot of people coming forward. It doesn't say great things about our society that people are coming forward, except it does, because it means that people are feeling more comfortable to talk about their experiences. We don't think the experiences are happening at a greater degree, but we're talking about it more, and that's really important.
Exactly. I think in part due to the Me Too movement, there is more awareness that's happening, and we just really feel a responsibility to keep that conversation going and to have it at the forefront of everyone's mind because it is so critical. And as I was telling you before we came on camera, we saw at our Rape Crisis Center a 40% increase in services from fiscal year 17 to 18,
40%.
Which is a huge jump, and we continue to see that upward trend. And as you said, we don't think that's because it's happening more frequently, and the research tells us that that's not the case, but in fact that people are just feeling more comfortable reaching out for our services, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we do. So we're excited to be able to provide that support to people who have such a need.
So I think we may have jumped in ahead of ourselves because we're talking about, you were just saying our services or your services. Tell me a little bit about what Health Imperatives is and about the Rape Crisis Center. What services are available for people?
Sure. So our mission is to improve the health and well-being of low-income and or vulnerable populations and families in southeastern Massachusetts. And we have our health intervention programs and our violence intervention programs. I oversee the violence intervention or VIP programs. And we serve about 30,000 people every year. We've been around for a little over 40 years. And our violence intervention programs include our domestic violence and sexual assault programs, our young parent programs, and our Bragley program for LGBTQ youth.
How big is your staff?
So there are 40 under me. We have about 140 across the organization.
Wow.
Within our Rape Crisis Center, there are only 7. We're lean because we cover 3 counties, most of Norfolk, all of Plymouth, and 1 town in Bristol. So that amounts to 32 communities with 7 staff. And you would think there were 20 of us because they do all work very hard, but we need more funding and we need more staff because we know the proportions of sexual assault within the communities, and we know we're not quite meeting the need, and that's tough.
I think you're doing very admirable work with the staff that you have, and I'm really appreciative that you're sharing it with the library and with our entire community. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're so appreciative of you, and we're happy to be partnering and co-sponsoring this event.
I think awareness that these centers exist is super important. Oftentimes people can feel very alone and isolated if they're, trying to recover from an assault. So are there people available to answer, like with 7 people, do you everybody already works 24 hours once a week? Is there a phone number people can call? What kind of resources are available for somebody who's actually trying to recover from an assault?
So our 24/7 hotline is 508-588-8255.
Okay.
And so people can reach out to that number at any time. There's also SafeLink. If people want to Google that, you can go online, and that keeps the bed count across the state for domestic violence victims who are in need.
Those are people who are looking for a place to stay that's safe. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is it something where people have to disclose who they are? Are there, I assume it's confidential when you call?
It is, absolutely. It's a confidential hotline, and all of our services are confidential. The anonymity of victims is really important for a lot of reasons, including safety.
Yeah.
So that's something that we take very seriously.
Okay. So on the 23rd, what's going to happen here at the library?
So I think this is a great event, and I'm so proud of my team because it was really all they're doing. I can't take credit. And it's going to be an art event, and we're looking for artwork from survivors who would like to submit. And that term survivor is really broadly defined. It's really anyone who identifies as a survivor can feel free to go ahead and submit artwork. And we're looking for submissions. If people want to know the guidelines about submissions, they can go online at healthimperatives.org/IASK.
Great. So there's going to be, is it mostly two-dimensional artwork that you're looking for? Is there going to be,
Well,
we
we're
always have
also
tables, we could do three-dimensional art.
Sure,
Yeah.
yes. So we're also defining that rather broadly as well, because we really just want submissions and we want to display the work of survivors. So if people want to write a short poem or story or pottery or painting, whatever really people would like to submit, we're open to, and we would love to have those submissions.
And there's going to be opportunity, I think there's going to be some poets who will read some poetry and maybe do
Yes.
some spoken word stuff.
Yes, so in addition to the artwork, we're going to have a speakers panel of survivors, and we're also looking for speakers. And we're also having some flexibility about, people might have some stage fright or nerves about that. So if they
Sure.
want to read a poem, they could do that. If they want to talk about their story, they could do that. And we could help support them in that too. If they wanted help preparing, we have a speakers bureau, and that's some part of what we do.
And I think I saw that you wanted people to register ahead of time if they're interested, so.
Yes, the event is come one, come all, so it's open to the public and they don't have to RSVP. But in terms of the speakers and the artwork, it would be great because we do need to collect releases, and there are some logistical pieces to that.
And it's not going to be one of these events like I've been at Take Back the Night marches and such, where people are just kind of spontaneously speaking out. But that's not really the theme we're going for at this event. It's going to be a little more structured.
A little more structured, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you think? Who do you imagine would be who's the target audience? Who do you see coming? Is this mostly for survivors and friends and family, or?
I really think it's whoever would like to come and support this cause, because I see this as an issue that is integral in our communities. And so, survivors are everywhere, and that's what people don't realize is sometimes people think we're talking about someone really separate from themselves when we talk about survivors, but we know that that's not true, that survivors are at every piece of society, regardless of class and socioeconomic status, and as we see with the celebrities, and they're just everywhere. They're among us. That many of them are on our staff, and so
regardless of gender, even. I mean,
yes,
this is,
absolutely.
Can happen to anybody.
Absolutely. So we would love for anyone and everyone to show up, and we also know that people might not be able to show up. So if they're interested in supporting the organization in other ways, I would really encourage people to check out our website. And
Absolutely.
there are lots of different ways to help, including volunteering and donating, of course, and there are lots of ways to get involved.
And I assume there's going to be several members of the staff on hand in case this obviously could be a very emotional experience for folks. So if they are worried about how they may feel confronting some of these issues in public and kind of being open, will there be support to help those folks?
I'm glad you asked that, because that is really critical, and we do always have staff on hand who have clinical skills and are dealing with this subject matter every day. They're really expert staff, and I can't say enough about my team. So yes, they will be there and they will provide support.
So if people are feeling uncertain or a little afraid, they should still come and they'll be supported. It's going to be a safe spot, and this is to raise awareness. They're not alone.
They're not alone at all. And we've even had speakers who at the last minute have said, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do this. And we've said, that's fine. Okay. We always have a plan B and a plan C.
Absolutely. We're not putting anybody on the spot.
Right.
Yeah, we're just helping break down the walls.
Sure. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you're coming and that we can shine some light on this really important issue and help people through the healing process. And hopefully some of this work will be preventative as well. I know that it's Awareness and Prevention Month, and prevention comes from, let's talk about it and help people find other ways to deal with each other.
Yes.
So that's why it's I ask for consent, right? That's the
Yes, so I Ask for Consent is actually a national theme for
Mhm.
Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so we can't take credit for coming up with the theme, but it is a really great theme because it's about putting out the message to people that it's the responsible thing to do to make sure that sexual contact is consensual
Right.
and that that's happening within intimate relationships. So that's what the theme is about, and that's central to the work that we do. And sometimes consent is a scary term to people. They don't understand what that means. So we actually provide trainings on consent, and we do it in a number of different community settings. So if anyone was interested in that, that's something we
And it
provide.
certainly doesn't mean it can't be romantic and special and spontaneous. It just means that it's consensual, that everybody's into it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
That's just right.
Thank you. I'm excited. I hope we get a wonderful turnout. Thank you for talking to me today, Katie.
Thank you, Clayton.
So please come out and help us recognize and do our best to combat sexual assault and raise awareness for sexual assault prevention here at the library on Tuesday, April 23rd from 6 to 8 o'clock. I look forward to seeing you.